Hey guys, Tech Made Easy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video today. Well, we've got another power station for you. Now, what I like about this is it's pretty compact, and it can support up to 500 watts. It's got a decent sized battery at 461 watt hours. It's made by a company called PowerSmart, and the model is PS5150. Now, a couple of things I like. You got this flat top here with a wireless charger, and the handle just lays down, which is really nice. Now the handle's got a light built in, and you get another light here as well. Now this thing has 9 ways to power devices, which is really cool. Look, in this review, we're going to do our super quick unboxing like you know we do. We're going to take a close look. We're going to go over specs. We're going to use this for a few weeks, and we're going to give you our honest opinion, right? What do we like? What do we not like? So, why don't we go ahead and get started? Hi, this is Al from Tech Made Easy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor, but keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. And there it goes. So we've got the 500 watt power station. We've got a manual, which I am going to look real good at, and you'll probably know more about that later on in the video. We've got solar cables, all right, with a barrel plug on one side, car charger with a barrel plug, and then you've got a AC adapter as well. So let's move on. So let's go ahead and go over some basics. So this is the PowerSmart PS5150. They actually put it right up in the front there. This is a 500 watt power station, peak 1,000 watts. So for a short period of time, the inverter on this is a pure sine wave inverter, and we will test that. So look out for that coming up. Battery type on this is lithium ion. It'll go to 800 cycles, and then it'll go to 80% is what the manufacturer states. The battery capacity is 461 watt hours, and again, they put that on the front as well. Now, solar, let's take a moment and go over solar. So solar is very interesting. It took me a lot of back and forth to get solar specs, and I didn't get all the specs. And you know, one of the things about this channel is we are very detailed. We try to be as detailed as possible, because when you connect this to solar, I don't want you making a mistake, because then you can burn out the MPPT controller. So the max solar on this is 60 watts, which is disappointing, to be honest with you. 12 to 28 volts. As far as weight, this thing weighs 13.4 pounds or 6.07 kilogram. And it has a 2-year warranty. Let's go ahead and do a quick look here. So we're going to start off in the front. We'll turn on the power button so you can see the display for a moment. You do have to hold that down for a second. And we're going to use this before we give you any feedback on this display and what value it adds. Now, we do like the covered outlets initially, okay? I do like that these are soft, and they actually go inside of the cigarette lighter and the barrel ports. Now, the barrel ports, a lot of people get confused because they're like, what do I use those for? We're going to have a recommended accessory part coming up soon, and we've got a way for you to use these, all right? And then USB, they've got 3 USB Type A quick charge, right? These big guys. And then they've got 1 USB Type-C power direct port. And we do have an accessory that will convert either Type A or Type-C for you if you really only use one or the other. So we'll show you that later on. Again, I like the covers. I like that they go in. So that's pretty cool. Now, I don't like these covers. And I just find that one day you're going to bump into an issue where you're going to need this to be off. And I don't know if you can take these off. But these are 500 watt, all right, AC outlets. and peak 1,000 watts for a short period of time. So good close look there. And again, your AC power button, your USB power button, your DC power button. And here is where you plug in your solar, and you plug in your car charger, and you plug in your AC charger for your big AC brick that you got. All right. Now, if we go over to the right side, you've got ventilation. You go to the back, you've got some specs in the back that can be helpful, along with a support number. Now, if we go to the top, we've got a wireless charger that's 10 watts, and we're going to test that later on. And as you can see, they've got a collapsing handle, so I like that. And another thing I like too is this handle's got some rubber here that's going to be really helpful if you're carrying it. So yeah, it feels nice. I haven't used it much. Now, as you can see here, you've got a little light button on the handle. And if you press that once, the side light turns on. If you press it again, it switches to the handle. So you can't get both of them on. But now if you hold this down, this button, this light button down, if you hold it down, 1, 2, 3, you can then get kind of a flashing. I don't know that it's actually doing SOS. I couldn't confirm that. All right, but you can get a flashing. Hit the button again, it turns it off. So I like that. That's pretty cool. And then let's look at the bottom just for a minute. I want to see if they've got some nice rubber on the bottom here that can protect, you know, wherever you're going to be putting this. And, you know, I got to say, that's kind of thin. You know, it's really very thin. I wish this was a little bit higher and a little bit more raised. I mean, it's nice that they do have it on all four corners, as you can see. But I do wish that was thicker and that was raised. So that is a good look at the 500 watt PowerSmart. So this next section is called Know Before You Buy. And it's something that I just started putting in all of my power station videos. And I do this to save you time. You know, just to make sure that you buy the right power station that meets your needs. And it's not easy. I mean, you still need some knowledge. So this is kind of a 1, 2, 3. Let me go ahead and bring up a slide and we'll go over number 1. So number 1, what do you want to power? All right. Now, again, keep in mind, is this for an emergency or is this for camping? What is it for, right? But what do you want to power? Do you want to power a laptop? Do you want to power phones? Do you want to have it for an emergency to power your refrigerator, your TV, your internet, right? So know that, first of all. Take a moment and say, okay, what do I want to power? What devices? Let's look at number 2. So let's go over number 2 now. How much power do your appliances and devices require? Right? You chose the devices or appliances in step number 1. Step number 2, now you've got to know, okay, I'm going to use this for emergency power backup. I definitely want to make sure whatever I buy can run my refrigerator for a certain period of time. Just realize that your refrigerator might use 100 watts or whatever it is, but at times will have a surge because the compressor will kick on. And that could be 300 watts. That could be 400 watts just for that one appliance. So you want to know how much power your devices are going to require. Here's some examples. LED lights use 5, maybe 10 watts. Laptops can vary. They can use 100, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. It depends on what model and brand. TVs can vary. They can be 100 watts. They could be 200 watts or more. And I'm talking about newer models, right, with the flat screens that don't use a lot of power. Refrigerators can use 100 all the way to 500 or more. Again, depending on how old your refrigerator is. And don't forget, it's got a compressor. It's going to kick on and use more power. And last but not least, I like to talk about the CPAP because that's something people can't live without, right? And if you lose power, you want to know, hey, can I sleep through the night? And those use around 50 to 150 watts, depending. So know how much power. Now let's talk about how long you would like to power and run the appliances or devices that you're thinking about in your situation, right? And so, you know, an example could be that you lose power for 8 to 10 hours once a year. Well, then that is your example. So now you've got number one, what devices? Number two, how much power do they use? And don't forget your startup wattage and your surge wattage, something a lot of us are not familiar with. And number three, how long will I need to run those devices? And that could be on a camping trip. That could be for emergencies where your power goes out at home. You know, when we look at the device we're looking at right now, this PowerSmart, right? You know, this has a 461 watt hour battery. And in the next slide, I'm going to go over some examples. But you want to know, like, one, does it have enough power for what I want it for? This is a 500 watt power station. But if you need 700 watts or 800 watts, well, this is not going to do it for you, right? If you want to run something for days and days, well, this isn't going to do it for you. But if you want portable power, if you want something to run your refrigerator for a couple of hours, run a fan, this is going to be able to do it. So just make the right decision. I don't want you to waste your money. I don't want you to get frustrated. Let's take a look at some runtime examples based off this power station on the next slide. All right, so I'm bringing up a slide right now, and this is what I call estimated use examples, right? Runtime examples based off this power station, the PowerSmart. So you want to make a cup of coffee. Well, if your coffee maker uses 500 watts or less, you will be able to make a couple of cups of coffee. Not many. What about a refrigerator? Well, if your refrigerator is a newer refrigerator, right? And let's just say it's a 200 watt refrigerator. You could run that refrigerator for an estimated 2.25 hours. What about those small college refrigerators? Well, you know, they use around 75 watts. You would be able to get an estimated 6 hours with this power station. What about a 50-inch LCD TV, those flat screens, right? Well, mine uses around 150 watts. I could run that for about 3 hours. What about home internet? What if I want to run my router and my modem? And, you know, I could actually do that for up to 9 hours, assuming that it was around 50 watts. What about a fan? Well, let's say a fan is using about 60 watts. I could get up to 7 hours. LED lights, a 5-watt LED light would be able to run for almost 90 hours. And if it was a 10 watt, well, you would probably cut that in half to about 45 hours. A CPAP, a 60-watt CPAP could run up to about 7 hours. A 120-watt CPAP could run for about 3.5 hours. So just some examples. I hope this information is helpful. Let's go over some recommended accessories. So I like recommending these accessories. They've done well. So here's a light, okay, and it actually plugs right into your USB. And as you can see, it's very adjustable, okay? Now I just turned it on by touching the end there. But you can adjust this any way you want, all right? So just so you'll know, it's really flexible. But hit the end there, your light turns on. Hit it again and it turns off. So that's one of the accessories I like, and we'll put the links in the description. Also, the light I showed you a moment ago comes in a 2-pack, just so you'll know. So you'll get 2. But let's look at another accessory. So let's talk about the barrel ports real quick. So if you're not going to use these, and you can use another car charge, right? So this is another accessory that we always talk about. And it plugs right in to the barrel port, and it gives you another car charging port. Isn't that cool? And you can get 2 more, and you can have 3. And I like that these are covered also. So I like that. Now, another accessory is, what if you need more USB Type-C? Let me zoom in a little bit for you, right? So let's say you want more USB Type-C. Well, you can convert one of the USB Type-A's, or all 3 of them if you like. This one accessory here basically does that, all right? It plugs in, and let me just see if I can plug it in the right way. And now, as you can see, you've got an extra USB Type-C. So we'll put that in the description, and it really just converts it, all right? So let's take that out. Now, what about if you want more USB Type-A? Well, this little guy here will go into the USB Type-C, and it will give you a USB Type-A, all right? So those are just some of the recommended accessories we always talk about. Let's do a quick test on the wireless charger, and we're going to watch the wattage here. So DC needs to be on, just so you'll know, in order to use the wireless charger. And what we're going to do is lay this on top, and boom, it's working. So we got 4 watts, 5 watts, 6 watts. And you know the nice part is, I've got a case on my iPhone 14 Pro, and it actually still works. So I like that. And it's putting out 10, 11 watts. Look at that. Actually putting out more than it's rated for. So it's putting out 12 watts. All right, I'm in a dark room, and I'm going to turn the light on the side of the unit, and let's see how it lights this room up. All right, so not bad. It's a light that you can use to aim. Now, what if we turn on the light on the handle? So as you can see, that's the light on the handle. That's not bad. So again, if I hit the button, off, it'll aim it towards the window, and then you've got the light on the handle. That's not bad. And it looks like a spider on my bed. Oh boy, is that a real spider? No, it's not. And that's our little demo of the light. One more time. There it goes. So, not bad. Definitely nice to have a light. For our next test, we're testing 2 things at the same time. Right now, we're actually testing to see if this power station has passed through charging. And it does. So power is coming through the AC inverter, coming through the unit, and it's passing through to our light that we have here. Okay, we've got our light plugged in. So we got 99 watts coming in through AC, 27 watts coming out to the light. Okay, those are LED lights, those 2 lights. The next thing we want to see is, does this have any type of UPS? And UPS stands for uninterrupted power supply. Now, most uninterrupted power supplies, UPS, they're very quick, right? The ones that you buy at computer stores and stuff like that. And they're very safe for computers and other sensitive electronics. I don't know the delay time on this to even say you should use this with a computer. So please be careful. But let's go ahead and watch the light, but also watch the screen, because I'm going to hit this power switch. And when I do that, the unit will no longer receive power. Okay, that's what's going to happen. The unit won't receive power. It'll basically have to use the battery to charge the light. And we're going to see how fast that happens. All right, so here we go. I'm going to hit 1, 2, 3. Now, I'll tell you, I'm impressed. I didn't see any delay in that light. And it's obviously supplying the 22 or 25 watts to the light, and it's not receiving any AC. Let's do that test one more time. I'm going to go ahead and turn the switch on. You're going to see the AC charging start to happen in a second. There it goes. All right, so the wattage is going up. All right. And then we're going to do it one more time, because I have never seen a power station do it that quick. So we're going to do it on the count of 3. And then again, we're going to watch the light as well. 1, 2, 3. Wow. I got to tell you, I don't know if I can find out, but if I can find out how fast this thing switched over in milliseconds, I will put it on the screen. That's only if I can get it. And folks, I don't think I will, because I've had a lot of trouble getting information from these folks. And yeah, it's a sponsored video, but I have to be real with you. So you're going to want to watch this video to the end. But so far, This thing is pretty darn quick. I didn't see any delay in the light. Now, if you're getting a new power station, just make sure you get one that's pure sine wave. Ultimately, it is really clean power. You know, if you're using it with a newer TV, laser jet, which a lot of people are not really using that much, audio and visual devices, and even CPAPs, believe it or not, and many people use them. So as you can see, this is a pure sine wave inverter on the PowerSmart. So now I want to test to see if I can get 500 watts out of this thing. I've got, I don't know, this is about a 300 and change charger. So let's turn on the AC outlet and let's see what we get from that. All right, so let that start up. All right, 150, 200. The fan's turning on also on this. 250. 280. Okay, fan is a little stronger now. We got 300 watts. And let's go ahead and see 365, 370. I got 380. All right, it looks like it's hanging around 380. Let's plug the TV in. All right, and let's see what we get out of that. TV's 100-something watts. I don't like these covers, I'll be honest. I'm not a fan. But, plug this in. TV is turning on. Okay, we got that turning on. And we are at 500 watts, and it's still running, 509, 508. All right. I'm going to wait a moment. I don't like to get too excited. So 508 watts running the TV and the charger, and that means it can handle 500 watts. That's really good news. And it didn't turn off. I don't have any errors. I would say that is a success. I'm just doing a quick test right now because one thing I don't like is this screen just turns off and there's no way to wake it up. So it's on now. It's powering the TV. It's using 122 watts. But if you hit the AC, it'll turn off. If you hit the power button, it'll turn off. So it doesn't have that wake up button, you know, and obviously there's no app, so you can't go into an app and say, don't turn the screen off. So it's on now, but in a moment, it'll actually turn off, and then you can't really see it. So that would be a con that will be in my pros and cons. And there it goes. See how it's real black. I mean, you know, you could barely see it. You know, you'd have to put light on it to see it. But if I tap the power button, it'll turn the unit off. If I tap the AC button, it'll turn the unit off. So it doesn't have a wake up button. Now, if you were wondering if this power station could power this Keurig K Supreme Smart, it can't, because this goes up to 1400 watts at a certain point while it's making coffee. This obviously will only handle 500, but it's good to know. Now, can this power station power the refrigerator? It can. Honestly, it can. This is a newer refrigerator. It uses around 50 to 60 watts, and with surge, it's a little over 200. So it could run it for definitely a few hours. All right, this is dead, and we're going to see how long it takes to charge. It's now 6:04 p.m. Let's take a moment and just watch the startup wattage, because that's always interesting. You know, how fast do these charge? We got 98 watts going in. All right, I haven't seen any more than 98 watts, so it looks like this is a slow charging process. But it says it'll take, I don't know, 3.6 hours? I'm not sure if that's correct. But it is 6:04. I guess we'll find out. So while I'm doing this charge test, I do want to make a correction. So the screen is actually pretty easy to read, even though the backlight turns off. You know, I'm in the kitchen here, and I have to say, I mean, that's still pretty sharp considering the backlight is off. So just want to be honest and fair. All right, we are an hour and 40 minutes in, and we are 52% charged. Not bad. 52%, an hour and 40 minutes in. And Brooklyn is drinking water. 2 hours in, and we are 71% charged. 98 watts. 2 hours in, 71%. All right, 2.5 hours in, and we're 87%. And yeah, I saw the watts go to 100 a second ago. 87%, 2.5 hours in. All right, guys, looks like we are 3 hours, 2 minutes shy of 3 hours, right? 95%. 95% in 3 hours. So we'll give it a few more minutes and we'll get the final time. Okay, looks like we got 3 hours and 15 minutes to fully charge to 100%. That's not too bad. And just be aware, these guys get hot. All right, so make sure you put this in a place, that, obviously can't burn up while you have it connected to the power station while it's charging, because this thing is pretty darn hot. All right, we're outside, and we're going to go ahead and test solar and see what we get as far as solar is concerned. All right, so we've got the power station there. We're going to plug in this included solar adapter. It's a small one, but that's okay. We connect this directly to the front there where the AC charger goes. And we're going to connect our panel that we're using. We're using a 50-watt panel. We've been told by the manufacturer that this supports 60 watts, which isn't really a lot, honestly, but let's take a moment and see what we're getting. Now, before we check to see what we're getting, I always use this solar angle finder. And how it works is, if you look, there's a dot here, right? There's a dot, and that dot creates a shadow. So you want to have the shadow, basically as centered as possible. So when I put this on the panel, I am looking for the best angle possible. Now this tells me that I have to lean this a little bit straighter because of the way the sun is right now. So let me adjust the panel a little bit, and then we'll check our wattage. Well, Brooklyn's poking around in the yard and eating things she probably shouldn't eat, but let's go ahead and check how much solar wattage we're getting out of a 60-watt panel. Sorry, this is a 60-watt panel. So we are getting, all right, 49, fluctuating, 50 watts. Yeah, it fluctuates. I don't know why right now. It should be a little bit more consistent, but to get 40 to 50 watts out of a 60-watt panel, it is cold, by the way. It's about 40 degrees here in New Jersey. That's not bad. So we can say solar is working. The battery is 66%. It said it'll take 1.9 hours to fully charge based off the 45 to 50 watts it's receiving. All right, and that panel that we're using. Now, one easy way to disconnect these cables is getting yourself a solar disconnector tool. All right, and what happens is these two pieces, what you do is you're basically taking this, laying it on top. See where these pins are? So when you lay it on like this, it pushes the pins in, allowing you to pull the cable apart. Very inexpensive. We'll put one in the description for you guys. So let's spend some time going over things I like, things I don't like, as well as my experience with the company. Now, this is a sponsored video, right? But I got to tell you, it is so important for me to be very honest with you about what I find, what I like, what I don't like, the experiences. And that's the reason why my videos are a little longer, you know, for folks that really want real information about a product. Most of the products that I review, we pay for, but it is nice to get a sponsorship from time to time because I can't afford to buy all types of equipment. But at the same time, I sacrifice nothing. I have to be brutally honest with you. So I just wanted to share that with you. Why don't we go ahead and move on? And what I'm going to do is share the likes and the dislikes, and I'll also share a new rating system I put together. So let's start off with things I don't like, and that allows me to end on a positive note. So the first thing I don't like is this thing has a limit to solar that's only 60 watts, first of all. It's a 500 watt power station. I would have thought they would have allowed it to have 100, maybe 200, but 160 watts, it's going to take a while to basically charge this up. Again, the battery's not huge, but it's a good size for this form factor. Now, the other thing that I didn't like, really, is I couldn't get all of the solar specs from the company. All right, so that's going to be a challenge. You're going to have to be very careful if you buy this on what panel that you connect, and you're going to have to reach out to the manufacturer on that one. I'm sorry, really, I like to provide all types of information. I've had this for a while, and it just was painful. So I wanted to say that. Now, another thing I don't like is it doesn't have an app, so you can't update the firmware, like maybe making the screen stay on longer, you know, turning on your outlets and ports, you know, maybe controlling this remotely temporarily. So you don't have that ability. I don't like that it has a large power brick, as you saw in the video. You know, it's a decent sized power brick, and it would have been nice to be built in. So all you needed was the cord. So the other thing that you need to be aware of is that that power brick gets hot, like most of them do. And just make sure you're not putting that on a rug or a piece of fabric while you're charging this for the 3 hours or so, because if it gets hot enough, it could cause a fire, right? So again, a lot of those power bricks do get hot. I just wanted to mention that. Now, another thing I don't like is the screen, you know, dims, right? The backlight turns off at a certain point. I don't know if it's around a minute, to be honest with you. And there's no way to turn it back on. There's no wake up button. You know, if you hit AC, it'll turn off AC. If you hit the power button, it'll turn the unit off. A lot of manufacturers build a, tap into a button where it'll just wake up. And then if you want to hold down the button, it'll actually turn the unit off. So you don't have that ability. It is easy to see in the daytime, but at night when the screen turns off, you practically have to turn on USB or DC in order to wake the screen back up. But then, you're turning on outlets. So again, I'm going to underline this. It was painful getting specs from the manufacturer. And that concerns me because if I can't get information, accurate information, to me, I always think about what would your experience be as a consumer? Would it be easier? You don't have a direct person you're dealing with. I have a direct person I am dealing with while I'm doing this review. And pretty bad there. Another thing, the last thing I really don't like is the AC covers. These guys can get in the way. I like that they're covered, right? But these guys here get in the way if you're using a big plug or something like that. So you can't really pull these out. So that's all as far as what I don't like. Why don't we go ahead and talk about what I like? And then we'll talk about the rating I'll be giving this power station. So what I like about it, a couple of things. First of all, I really like that this handle lays flat. It just lays right in there, and it feels like it's made well, and it gives you a flat place if you need to put stuff on top. So I really like that. I like that the wireless charger on here even works with a case. if you saw our testing in the video earlier, we have an iPhone 14 Pro with a pretty thick case, and it still worked well. So I like that, because some manufacturers, you got to take your case off. I do like that they give you a light over here, and they give you a light on the handle, and then that's your control button for both the lights there. See that guy there? So I like that. That's pretty cool. I do like that the ports are covered and the outlets are covered. Again, the AC outlet, can be challenging if you're putting a big plug on here. Nothing major, but just pointing that out based off of my experience. And lastly, I like the size and the power. It is not big and it's not heavy. So to get a 500 watt power station in this form factor with a 461 watt hour battery, pretty nice. So what type of score or rating will this receive? Well, let's go over that real quick so I can share that with you. So I'm going to bring up a new rating system that I created. And it's really simple, guys. It's not scientific, but I just thought it would be helpful if you're going to be making a purchase, after me using this for a while and dealing with the manufacturer. So as you can see here, it's a 10 scale system. 1 to 6, can't recommend due to many reasons. 7 to 8, some concerns, but the product performed well. 9, very high rating, many positives. And then 10, obviously the highest rating, right? I mean, that's perfect, and that's going to be rare. Well made, didn't experience any failures, good experience dealing with the manufacturer. So the question is, let's pull up the next slide and share with you the rating that I'm giving this power station. So there it goes. I'm giving it a 7. Now, if you went and listened to the things I didn't like, then you'll understand why I'm giving it a 7. All right, some concerns, but the product performed well. I didn't have any issues powering devices. The inverter worked well, the wireless charger worked well, DC worked well, USB worked well. So not bad at all. So guys, I really hope this review helped you in some way. And if it did, number one, please give us a thumbs up. It really, really helps the channel. You have no idea. A lot of people make it pretty simple. Also, if you're new to the channel, take a moment and subscribe. We would love to have you as a family member. And, share our video with your friends, your family. Follow us on social media, our Instagram, Twitter, or our Facebook. And again, thank you so much for watching our videos. If you're a subscriber, thank you for being with us, okay? And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hey guys, take a moment and give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. As you can see, Brooklyn, she's waving her tail for you. Take a moment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell and you'll get notified of new videos we come out with. Also, follow us and contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.